Hello students, I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to another video from QuickStudy, and this video covers business growth from topic 2.1, growing the business. And in this video we are going to learn about the different methods of growing your business and what kind of impact it can have. The different methods of business growth may include organic growth, which is also known as internal growth. The methods for organic growth may include using new products or using new markets. And we'll also learn about inorganic growth or external growth, and that might be done through mergers and takeovers. All right, now let's discuss about the importance of business growth in a growing market. So first of all, you need to understand that it's essential for your business to grow in a market that is growing so that you do not lose out on market share, because if you do not grow, but your competitors are, so they will take away your market share. Also, declining market share actually threaten your business's existence. And at the same time, retailers might not want to buy from you since they might feel like you are left behind. And there are different ways to achieve growth, like we have already discussed. There are ways you could use to grow organically or internally, and that might include selling more of your existing products. You could launch new products or develop new products, and at the same time, you can open up new shops or outlets to increase your sales. Whereas growing inorganically or external growth might mean that you are buying other companies or merging with new companies. And to give you a good idea of business growth, I'd like to discuss a case study of Fever Tree. So Fever Tree was a brand that was developed by two experienced marketing executives back in 2005, and their brand proposition was that they were going to sell all natural soft drinks, and that also included tonic water. And their brand positioning, they positioned their brand in the premium category, and this actually led to over 75% of the top restaurants in the world to adopt their products. And their growth metrics showed that in 2008, their sales was just over 2 million pounds. However, by 2015, they had achieved sales of over 59 million pounds. So that's a whopping increase. And their expected sales growth rate showed to be over 50% in the next few years. So what was the growth strategy that Fever Tree followed? Well, first of all, they focused on launching new and successful products. At the same time, they expanded their retail distribution, and they were actually exporting to over 50 countries. And this is what actually led to over half of their sales coming from their exports. All right, now let's discuss a bit more on how you can grow organically. So one of the methods to grow organically involves using new products. So most companies will initially start out with one business idea. And of course, the natural progression is that if the initial product was successful, it's only natural to explore new related products. And I would like to use Fever Tree as an example here. So Fever Tree initially only launched their tonic water, and eventually they developed other new products like ginger ale, then bitter lemon and Sicilian lemon, and a lot more. And what this helps you to do is basically an expanded product range can actually help attract new customers. And this strategy that used by Fever Tree, the outcome of this strategy was that they had sustained and substantial growth over the years to come. And of course, you also need to remember when you are trying to grow organically using new products is that you need to differentiate your products. So basically, when you are coming up with new products, if they are not distinctive and innovative, retailers might not want to stock them. Innovation basically means when you are bringing something new into the market. And if I had to give you an example, I'd use the brand Lindt. So when Lindt came out with their new chocolates, known as the Lindor, they had a different taste, and they had a different mouthfeel. And of course, they seemed more luxurious than other traditional chocolates like Nestle's Quality Street or Mars's Celebrations and Cadbury's Roses. So the sales success that Lindt had over the years is that their UK sales was over 99 million pounds in 2016, and they actually outsold traditional chocolate brands like Nestle's Quality Street, Mars's Celebrations, and Cadbury's Roses. All right, now that we are talking about how you can use new products as a method to grow organically, and we have also discussed about the importance of innovation, you need to keep in mind that research and development is at the heart of innovation, because companies must consistently invest in research and development to make sure that they are more innovative. And when you are carrying out your research and development process, you need to keep in mind that you need to conduct scientific research. An example could be a chocolate manufacturer who's trying to develop melt-free chocolates because they have a customer base in hot and humid countries like India, or probably you are manufacturing cars and airplanes, and your objective could be to build stronger and lighter materials so that your vehicles are more fuel efficient, right? And of course, after you have carried out your scientific research, the next step is that you must be carefully developing the technical aspects of the product. And your objective is to ensure that the business idea can be turned into a reality. And you have to do that by the process, which involves that you are carefully engineering the production process. At the same time, you need to do testing while you are producing the product. And of course, you need to have proper planning that is put in place. All right, now that you understand the importance of research and development, you should also know that there are certain benefits that you can enjoy with that comes along with good research and development. And there were science-led innovations. For example, when lithium batteries were developed in the 1980s, they were crucial for making electric vehicles like the Tesla supercar. And of course, then there is the heat-resistant chocolate. In 2015, Nestle actually patented a method for developing or making heat-resistant chocolates for up to 40 degrees Celsius. And of course, there are examples of technical developments as well. So when the Toyota Prius was launched in 2001 after a decade worth of work, and till date, it's one of the world's biggest selling eco-friendly car. And then we have aircraft efficiency, which is also an example of technical developments. Because aircrafts today are made with much more durable and stronger materials, they are much more fuel efficient and less noisy. And at the same time, they cause less harm to the environment. All right, now that we have discussed one of the ways you can grow organically, which is using new products, another way you could go for organic or internal growth is using new markets. So there are certain challenges that you might face into finding and developing new markets for your products. First of all, it's common for any business to incur a lot of costs and expenses when they are branching out into new markets. And if you as a business would like to do that, you need to be aware that it will eat away at your current profits and likely increase your costs. But you as a business owner have to be confident that this growth strategy of branching out into new markets in the long run is sustainable for your business so that you can cover up for the losses that you're making today. And of course, there are other difficulties that you can face with developing or finding new markets. One of them being that you'd have to promote an unknown brand. Because you are going into a new market, it's likely that you know little about the new market environment. And the brand, your own brand that you're taking into a new market, is an unknown product in itself to the new customers, right? So you'd have to spend a lot of money on market research to make sure that your business idea does not fail. And of course, then there is the distribution systems. Because you'd be moving into a new market, you need to keep in mind that the distribution system in new markets is likely to be very different from the one that you're using right now. And then you'd also have to, of course, build a new management team. And that involves creating a new structure. And you'd also have to deal with the problems that can come up with building a new team and training mistakes. All right, now let's discuss a few of the successes and failures of UK businesses in new overseas markets. So first of all, let's discuss about some of the successes that UK businesses have. So one of them being Costa Coffee. So Costa Coffee entered the Chinese market almost a decade after Starbucks had joined. And even after that, Costa Coffee had managed to gain up to 25% of the market share, and they actually had plans to double their number of stores to up to 900 by 2020. And similarly, another success story is the example of Innocent Drinks. Innocent Drinks initially struggled a lot, however, eventually found success in Europe by 2015 because they had achieved sales of over 100 million pounds in countries like France, Germany, and Russia. So as there are certain companies who have found success in overseas markets, there are stories of companies who have actually failed in new and overseas markets. A popular example could be the one of Tesco, who had wasted of over £2 billion in trying to establish a grocery store in America. And eventually they had to pay a Chinese company to take Tesco China off of their hands. And similarly, another brand who has failed is the popular news company, The Guardian. So they had invested heavily across newsrooms in countries like America and Australia. Despite being one of the world's most famous online news sites, their mismanagement in operations have led to significant losses. So how can you leverage new market opportunities to your own benefits? Because new markets aren't really always overseas, because in this day and age, companies can leverage their technical expertise in developing new opportunities. If I had to give you an example, Google is a master in developing computer logic, and this is the same expertise that they have, which is used to come up with effective search engines, or this is also used in developing self-driving cars. So Google can actually potentially grow by developing new and exciting market opportunities. And another thing that you could do to make sure that your product or service best fits the needs of the new market is to adapt your marketing mix. If I had to give you an example, Lucozade was originally an energy drink for the elderly, and it was packaged in a big glass bottle. However, in the 1980s, Lucozade Sport was introduced, and the packaging was new and bright. It was in a modern style, and it was targeted at people who were into sports and led an active lifestyle. And as a result, Lucozade actually increased their sales from under £20 million annually to over £400 million in a year. Alright, now that we have discussed a bit about the different methods that you can use to grow organically or grow internally, let us talk about the different ways that you can explore to grow inorganically or externally. So one of the methods to grow inorganically includes takeover. Takeover is when one company buys another company. And if I have to give you an example, it could be when Mars actually acquired Wrigley, the chewing gum brand, in 2008. And Mars had bought Wrigley for over $23 billion. And how this has helped Mars is that in that time period, the global sales for chocolates was actually stagnating. However, the sales of chewing gum was actually going up. And this combined actually helped Mars to grow as a whole. So the result of Mars's growth was due to the fact that they had acquired Wrigley. And this had actually brought some significant benefits to Mars as well. First of all, there was financial benefits. Now that Mars was a bigger company, they had a superior or a higher bargaining power with the supermarket chains. And this could also help them to push up the prices of their products. And also at the same time, this acquisition helped Mars cut back on a lot of the costs, as they could merge their delivery systems and their sales forces. And this actually led to a few job losses as well. And of course, when we are talking about takeovers, there are different kinds of companies that are being taken over, right? First of all, we have got private limited companies. So the process that is involved in taking over private limited companies is usually phone calls and negotiations. And usually the takeover process is complete after or when over 50% of the owners of share capital agree to sell. And of course, there are potential challenges that you might face when you're trying to buy or sell a private limited company. That is, since these are family-owned businesses, there might be disputes or disagreements between the owners of the company. And when it comes to public limited companies, the takeover process can be a bit different. Usually, the bidder or the one who is trying to buy the company will offer a price, will usually offer a generous price, which is usually 25 to 40% premium of the price of the shares of the company. And the shareholders might actually hold out for a while to see if there is a rival bidder who is offering a higher price. If I had to give you an example, in 2016, during a bidding war actually took place between Microsoft and Salesforce.com when they were trying to acquire LinkedIn. And eventually it led to Microsoft buying LinkedIn at a 50% premium to the pre-bid share price that they had originally offered. And usually when you are taking over or acquiring a new company, the process is complete only after over 50% of the shareholders actually agree to sell to the bidder, and the remaining shareholders usually will accept the bidder's terms. All right, now after the takeover or the acquisition process has taken place, there will be certain changes in control and staff. First of all, the company that is taking over another company or buying another company will be in complete control of the decision-making process. And usually the senior staff of the company that is being bought or sold will usually leave, and decisions about staff retention and new management appointments are made accordingly. At the same time, adjustments for products and services has to be made accordingly, because there might be overlapping products, brands, or services that has to be reduced for the purpose of cutting costs. So who are the winners or the losers in a takeover or an acquisition process? Of course, firstly, the winners would be the shareholders who have sold their shares at a higher price or at a premium. Then, of course, the winners would be the consultants as well, who has advised the management or the owners throughout the takeover process. And when it comes to the losers, firstly, it would be the management or the employees who have lost their jobs. And the customers would also lose out, because after the takeover process, there is essentially fewer competition in the market, and it might lead to less choices being available for consumers to make, and it might also lead to discontinuation of certain favorite products of customers. So another way that businesses can use to grow inorganically or externally is by mergers. So mergers are when two similarly sized businesses come together to form a new business. And when we're talking about mergers, you need to keep in mind that it poses a few challenges for businesses. The first one being that it puts a lot of strain on management. Now imagine if your school were to double in size. Now, the same teachers would have to manage twice the amount of students that you have right now. Of course, that would be very difficult, right? And it's the same case for businesses management when they have to manage a lot of changes at once. And during mergers, these rapid and overwhelming changes can be very difficult to cope up with. And if I had to give you an example of mergers that turned out to be bad, I would give an example of Daimler-Benz and Chrysler. So both businesses are actually in the production of cars, and they both actually were in constant disagreements about decision making, which led to a significant amount of financial losses. Eventually, Mercedes lost out on over $50 billion worth of their cash, whereas Chrysler actually needed a bailout by the US taxpayers within just 1 year of their operations. But not all mergers have actually failed, because there are examples of successful mergers too, like the one where Dixon's Carphone was formed. So Dixon's and Carphone Warehouse actually formed together to form Dixon's Carphone. And the core management team actually represents both sides of the business. And even though they have overlapping products and services, they are very clear on how these businesses will operate. Because Curry's PC World will sell electronic items and hardware, whereas Carphone will sell mobile phone services and software. All right, now which one is the best option, organic growth or inorganic growth? Well, what you need to understand is at the heart of the world's leading companies like Facebook, Google, Toyota, or Airbus, it's at the core of their business process to ensure that the staff understand the core mission of the business. Of course, they have eventually branched out into acquiring new businesses, because but inorganic growth solely cannot be relied upon, because there are other challenges that you will also face along the way. And inorganic growth will, of course, involve mergers and takeovers. And there are examples of successful takeovers, like when Coca-Cola acquired Innocent Drinks because they wanted to enter a faster growing sector of the soft drinks market. And what you need to do is take a balanced approach. That is, while That is making sure that while organic growth is generally preferable for businesses, takeovers might also be necessary depending on your current circumstances and your business goals and objectives. Alright students, with that we have come towards the very end of this video, and to give you a short recap, this is what we have covered in this video so far. So we have talked about the different methods of business growth and their impact on businesses, which involves organic growth. You could grow organically by using new products or new markets, or you could opt for inorganic growth or external growth, which includes mergers and takeovers. And of course, students, I'd like to thank you for watching this video. And if you've liked this video, do subscribe to our channel since we post regularly on different topics and subjects that can help you ace your GCSEs. And of course, for more information on our online tutoring services, do visit our website at www.quickstudy.uk. Thank you.